Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha, the God. And today I want to talk about something really interesting. I want to talk about writing. I'm an aspiring writer myself, and when I read stories like Attack on Titan, and even watching the movie Tenet. Now, I don't know if there are plot holes in Tenet. I've only watched it once, but I feel like watching it two, three, four, five, six more times to fully comprehend it because I feel like there's some ingenious little details and intricate details in the story that if you don't pay attention to, you miss. And it tells you a lot about what's happening. I love that. I love when the story gives you all the information to figure out everything you need to figure out, and it's just difficult to figure it out, or it could lead you to two or three possibilities, right? I think that's a sign of really good writing. You don't really want it to lead to only one possibility because then it's too easy to guess. And you don't want to lead to too many possibilities because then it just feels like it's just bad writing. It's just all over the place. It could be anybody. Then you might as well not give any information because 20 people to choose from is way too many to choose from, right? Now, you can do that many people to choose from if one by one you lose some of those members, right? And you start to figure out, okay, well, these guys weren't in this scenario, and all the guys that were in this scenario are still alive. Do you know what I mean? So you can figure things out in that way. That's another way you can go about tightening your story and bringing the information tighter and tighter and closer to the objective. Normally, what you want to do is give enough information just before the big reveal, like just before it, and not too soon. Too soon takes away suspense. Too late feels rushed. It feels forced. It feels like if that information was given, like, I don't know, it's just the timing. Timing is also important. I think it's the timing. Now, excuse me. What's important is to know, for first of all, I'm not technically a writer. I write, but I'm not a writer. I can't consider myself a writer. I've been plotting for 6 years on my book, plotting, just figuring out the world, figuring out the animals, figuring out the planets, figuring out the powers and power system and how it works, figuring out the characters, figuring out the motivations, figuring out what makes them tick, why they make certain decisions, and what type of characters would never make certain types of decisions, or what would make these characters or force these characters into a position where they'll possibly make that decision. Just figuring out the intricate details, figuring out the beginning and the end. The middle part, I think, it's not quite as important as people think, at least for me. I think the beginning of a story and the ending of a story are the two things that you remember the most. The middle parts, there's always going to be great moments and terrible moments and whatever moments you want. But I feel like the end and the beginning are pivotal. Now, obviously, the middle and chunk is important, but I think if you discover your beginning and your end, the middle will create itself, will build itself, right? If you understand your characters, you understand what type of decisions they make, if you understand all of these things, I feel like you can create a real world that feels realistic, that's something readers can really fall in love with, that can really delve into and feel like they're a part of. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of writers fail in certain aspects, especially when it comes to the mystery box. J.J. Abrams wrote about the mystery box, which is basically you have a mystery and the audience can solve it, or and you as the director or the writer or the story provide them with information so that they can try to solve it. The information can't be too blatant. Well, it can be, but then it's not really a mystery box anymore. You know what I mean? But it can't be too blatant and it can't be stupidly hard. So that these are pivotal, I think, for writing the perfect mystery box. I think Attack on Titan writes one of the best ones with the basement. You technically actually get kind of the answer from Erwin, who and his dad, who both predicted that this is most likely the outcome because they decided to question everything. And he got his father killed for it, and he wanted to prove to his father that he was correct, and he died before ever knowing. Spoilers alert. I mean, if you haven't watched the first 3 seasons, I don't know what you've been doing. But yeah, Tenet as well. I feel like only having seen it once. There's a few things I noticed myself in the first watch. I noticed what's his name, the new Batman, golly, who Robert Pattinson. I noticed Robert Pattinson's character. I thought that he he knew more information, right? And I felt like he knew about the whole time traveling, time reversal, tenet thing, um, more so than our protagonist. And how what tipped me off, the first thing that tipped me off that I was like, was, you know, when he took the guy's mask off and then he let the guy go. I thought that was a very like important thing to have in the plot. I think it was super important to have that in the plot, because if you don't have that in the plot, I think it's hard to to fully understand, and get the clues of the story, right? I think that's one of the pivotal aspects of the story, the plot line. So from that, I deducted that I thought that, Robert Patterson's character was actually the one that was going back and switching things, and he opened his face and found out it was himself, and therefore he understood and was like, okay, I must be doing something for a reason. I don't know why he didn't think it'd be the main character himself, the protagonist himself. It would have made more sense. But for some reason, I just thought it was Patterson himself. I thought maybe he was actually doing something evil, because obviously they were fighting them. But I thought way too basically. But, the information was given to you, and it's kind of up to you to figure it out. If you look at the body chart, those little details actually that should have gave it away, including they were both dressed exactly identical, not extremely, exactly identical. They wore the exact same stuff, and I think that's what should have gave it away. But I didn't pay enough attention. I was watching with Mother Bear, Mama Bear. So sometimes you miss things, you know what I'm saying, because conversations I had and stuff like that. But I like when movies are smart enough to do that, to give you all that information, and in fine details, some in like are more obvious and some in finer details, to allow that, you know what I'm saying, rather than just ass pulley revelations that you get in a lot of stories. So this is why preparation, I think, in writing a story is pivotal, and for me, I think preparation is the most important thing. And I think Attack on Titan does it well. I don't want to like just give it to Tenet just because I haven't watched it enough time to like figure it out. There's a lot of information in that 2 odd hours movie, and I definitely missed a lot of things. I missed a lot of dialogue. I didn't have subtitles and stuff like that, so I missed a lot of details that I'd love to delve and come back to. I still don't fully understand the time reversal thing. I feel like the information is there and you can plot it, but I don't know if I'll ever have to put in the effort to figure it out. But I might also just be dumb and not, how could I not get it immediately? How could you not be like Elle? How could you not be Batman? Oh my God, there's all those people like that just get it. You know what I'm saying? Fair juice to y'all. It depends on the situation. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not that type of person. So, it is what it is. But so I don't want to give it too much credit for doing that just because I don't fully get it yet, and I didn't want to watch any videos about it. But with Attack on Titan, I know the author does it right. You know what I'm saying? I know the author doesn't go back and retcon and doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Whatever he builds upon, whatever information he gives you, there's usually some kind of payoff later down the line, and he always gives you just enough information where you can figure it out. If you go back and watch Annie and watch Bertrand and watch Raynor, you can see the details. Like, they make some odd decisions, say some odd shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, now it makes sense. Like, that why they made these, and the thing is, they don't really feel out of pocket when, like, I mean, some of you like, whatever. But you just feel like they weirdos or some shit. But they don't feel out of pocket until you discover that information. You're like, when he said, when he did, when he went, it makes sense. And I think that's what preparation does, you know what I'm saying? And I think Naruto is an example of lack of preparation, right? I feel like, Hashirama, the situation of him, I think the whole part 1 of Naruto, before Shippuden, a lot of that, I think maybe he planned the story to end earlier, but a lot of what happens in Shippuden retcons or goes against directly what we're given in part 1. And it's not like this purposeful deception by the characters. That could be like a smart thing, like the characters gave this false information for this, for that. But it just, I think the author just didn't know, like Minato being as OP as he turns out to be, and him being Naruto's dad. I don't know if that was always the plan, and even because it's like nobody mentions the fourth Hokage, like what I'm saying, nobody, and on top of it, like you not see that statue that looks like you, cause like, huh? Like nobody would guess that Minato had a child and this nigga probably him since they defeated. Like really, what I'm saying? It's like there's so many things like those Kakashi. Like Kakashi is like so weak in part one, bro. So weak, and he's scared of Orochimaru. Which if you can give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't feel like he went through the story to give us a reason why he was scared of Orochimaru. Because part two, Kakashi would never fear Orochimaru. You know what I'm saying? He fought against pain, bro. How could you fear Orochimaru when you can fight against pain? You know what I'm saying? He was chasing after the Akatsuki like he had bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? This same man is gonna be scared of Orochimaru. Most of these Akatsuki members are stronger than Orochimaru. Like the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So it was those type of situations where it's like you felt like the author maybe felt, oh, maybe I'm not writing this character the way I want to. Let me switch things here. And even the third Hokage is supposed to be the goat Hokage and using a stick. And actually, I kind of liked it when like that was considered super high tier shit. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, part two was eyeballs and alien powers. You know what I'm saying? And that was definitely pulled out of nowhere. There's no information in part one that tells you, oh, aliens could potentially exist. There's no information throughout the series that tells you that. The best you get is the Sage's six pack, and that, it's not really told that he's an alien. There's no reference to him being an alien. It's kind of like the Avatar, right? Nobody knows where the Avatar came from, but nobody's going, they know that there's energies and there's animals and there's different creatures and there's a spiritual connection, right? But the fact that there's already spirits and you have the moon spirit and all of that information, it makes sense then that the first Avatar connected with a spirit, because they tell you this. There's the turtle, there's the badger, there's all of this information where you can realistically agree, okay, makes sense that this spirit bonded with a person who was connected to the spirits. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So those type of things make sense, but I feel like Naruto failed to give us anything on that. And it felt like, boom, here's a surprise, Kaguya. And here's a bigger surprise, Black Zetsu. You know what I'm saying? The plan itself made zero fucking sense and left everything up to like happen chance, really. The incarnation thing is also BS. Because it almost takes away the free will of the characters, and it still doesn't make sense even after that. Like, there's just so many plot holes in Naruto, and this is one of my favorite animes of all time. I'm just telling you, like, there's hella fucking plot holes. If you're talking about narratively speaking, it's just I fell in love with this character so deeply, and I grew up with them so deeply that I forgive and forget a lot. Not forget, but I forgive and forgave a lot of nonsense in the story. I feel like, to better write, I think if Attack on Titan author wrote that, you know what I'm saying, you'd get some alien references in part one. You'd get some weird things happening that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? That like, huh? Like, where's this shit coming from? Now, I know the Renegon and stuff like that became a thing, but remember when the Byakugan was supposed to be levels above the Sharingan? You know what I'm saying? And then it turns out every fucking Uchiha with eyeballs is OP as fuck. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no Byakugan user ever existed, minus maybe Boruto that's god tier. So those are the kind of things that I think that separate good writing from great writing. Excuse the burp. From great writing, and I think that's mainly what I want to talk about. I think preparation is important. I feel like some writers aren't fully prepared with the story, and I understand some worlds are huge, massive. One Piece, like, it's almost impossible to be fully prepared for a story for that long. That's why I also don't really fully love the idea of stories lasting that long. I think if your story needs to last that long, then there's a lot of things that you have that don't need to be there, that are meaningless, that don't add value to your story. You cannot convince me that every single chapter or episode of One Piece adds value to these characters, adds something extra to the character. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it is repetitions of what we already know about them. Conviction, we already know they got it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Naruto. That's where fillers come from. That's where filler arcs come from, right? It's meaningless shit that gives us no extra benefits, that doesn't get us closer to the mystery box, it doesn't get us closer to the finality of the story. And I think great writers avoid this. This is why Attack on Titan doesn't have 800 fucking episodes, 600 fucking episodes. Even the chapters, only 130 something chapters of comic, of manga. And that's essential, because that's why it's just a really good story, because it tells its story and it leaves. And if it needs to tell another story, it will tell a completely another story and do that in a decent amount of time and leave. But when a story just remains and remains and remains and remains, The Simpsons, one of the greatest animations of all time, of shows, sitcoms, whatever you want to call it, one of the greatest of all time. What killed it? Longevity. 20 years in the game, at some point there's going to be a disconnect between the writers and the viewers. There's going to be a disconnect somewhere along the line. There's going to be changes made somewhere along the line. There's going to be retcons made. There's going to be a lot of information that goes wayward. You know what I'm saying? Wayward. So that's the thing about it. And I think if you want to write a story, I would recommend taking as long as you need to prepare to avoid those, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the difference between legendary status and just good. And I know some people are satisfied with just good because, hey, Naruto makes million, One Piece makes million, but great takes a different level, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is why you wait 4-5 years per season of Attack on Titan. It may not sell as much, but in my book, it's the greater story. It's the greater written story. You know what I'm saying? And I think stuff like Tower of God, again, great potential and stuff like that. There's a few stuff limiting it from eclipsing certain things. I think in many ways Tower of God can be considered better than Naruto, from my perspective. And I still prefer Naruto, but I think it can be considered better than Naruto because I don't think it has as many blatant problems. I think the protagonist is a bit dead for me, but and I think that's the problem with having a protagonist that isn't all that captivating. It's hard to stick with them for that long, or really care for them for that long, beyond superficial things like I like his design, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm probably being a bit harsh to a lot of people, but this is just a reality. I think if you want to be considered a top tier writer versus a very popular average writer, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to throw shade, because whatever, but I feel like I can throw shade to like the Naruto author, no problem, because I feel like nobody would care if I did that, Kishimoto that is. But I feel like if I did the same to like I can throw shade at one as well from One Punch Man. I feel like the comic book is a little bit of a disaster right now, the manga that is. There's too many like redone chapters, too many retcons. It feels like a lack of confidence in his story. And I understand why he's making some changes from the webtoon, but I feel like some of the changes on top of those changes are just like, just move on from them. You know what I'm saying? 3-4 bad chapters or average chapters isn't gonna make us think the whole fucking story shit. You know what I mean? I know that some of them might have implications for later on, but I feel like then he should think it fully out before publishing it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like I can't hate on somebody like Uru-chan. I feel like the fan base of Unordinary is a little different. The newer, probably younger demographic, and they don't fully understand narrative, and they don't fully understand storytelling in that sphere. I'm still learning myself, of course, but at the same time, I feel like I can see the flaws. You know what I'm saying? And this is the type of flaws I'd love if somebody called me out on it when my story drops. I don't think I'll have them because, I mean, there's always going to be a flaw, but I don't think I'll have, outrageous flaws like those or that amount of it. But you know what I'm saying? And this is just what I feel about storytelling in general. And look, I wanted to drop you all something for Christmas. I know it's kind of a rant, but it's also one of my longer videos. So, I hope you guys enjoy and have a blessed day, man. You know what I'm saying? It's been your boy Supreme Uchiha the God. What do you guys think about storytelling? Do you agree with my points? Do you disagree? Why? Either way, either for or against. I'm always down for discourse. If you want to call me names, you can do that too. But yeah, it's been your boy Supreme Uchiha the God. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Road to 700. I'm out.
I got friends now. You ain't nobody. but I got flashed up. I'm ballin' out with my flash up.